Haiti borders with the Dominican.
Her name is Serena Buffalino. They call her Mrs. B, and her class always begins with a pledge.
Something local, something global. Haiti.
They're words that carry weight here. Helping yourself means helping others, giving back, here and a world away in Haiti.
And nobody's helping them, except for people like us.
It was through her the class learned of Haiti, of the nearly 1 million orphans, many with no school, no support, no Mrs. B in their lives.
They could not wrap their head around that.
Mrs. B's students are among Toronto's most at risk. Their challenges vary from emotional and behavioral difficulties to learning disabilities. Their trauma is so severe they can't function in a regular school setting, and we aren't allowed to show most of their classmates.
For most of the kids, most of society has turned them away. And in this classroom, they're accepted. They're accepted no matter what for who they are.
Take Yolanda. She came here last year so burdened and withdrawn, she would often fall silent, sometimes for days on end. It was, she says, Mrs. B's patience, her quiet encouragement, that saved her.
She actually saves people's lives from dangers.
And perhaps that's why these marginalized kids feel such a kinship with the orphans of Haiti, and why they were moved to act.
And so when Yolanda and Jackie and Patrick said, well, Miss B, we need to build them a school.
Build a school, no easy task. They started out raising money. They sold samosas, washed cars, screened movies, you name it. And in just a few months, this little class raised $20,000. So much, it's not just a one-room schoolhouse they can build, but a full 3-story school. And so Mrs. B set off on a journey she'd dreamed of, up into the dusty mountains above Port-au-Prince to a town called Canaan. It's home to thousands of earthquake refugees who live with no running water, no electricity, and no school, until now. The first step was a temporary school. It's up and running, 53 students already in uniform. The permanent school for 250 is growing from its foundations.
It makes me want to cry because she just makes me feel so awed, and I'm very proud of her.
All of this because of a handful of students back in Canada and Mrs. B, the teacher who believed in them.
These are for you.
At another fundraiser, a special tribute to the students, accepted by someone who without Mrs. B might not be here.
They believe in me and I believe in them, and together we not only change our lives, but we change the world around us.
For inspiring great things and seeing the potential in everyone, Serena Buffalino is this week's Everyday Hero.
This is the reason why I do what I do, is because of Yolanda and all
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Wow. First time around, we're doing well.
We're doing well. Exactly. Good morning, Miss Beckley. How are you doing?
Good morning, Miss Ellison. It is a wonderful morning. It is so wonderful that I forgot to send you the link. I was like, what am I doing?
You know, the thing is, that's exactly what happens to people. And I know you and we talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
And so that is, I think, part of what this show is going to be. It's apropos because of what part of this show is going to be. Because people get stopped because they're so afraid of something like that happen. But what if I forgot to send a link? What if this happens? What if that happens? What if my, whatever?
Mm-hmm.
And that is exactly what happens to people. So it's apropos that because that's part of life, things happen.
Yeah.
Things happen,
Yeah.
and so let's start with introducing ourselves, of course, because we always forget that. And I do that quite often. I just start talking.
We get right into it.
And we just get into it because we just think everybody's going to know. The thing is, though, and I have said this so often, you hear it from me all the time. And I said it to a gal yesterday, and I said, you don't know what you don't know until somebody tells you something that you don't know.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, right, because you don't know it. And so if you don't know who we are, if we don't tell you, you're not going to know who we are. So I'm Barbara Ellison, and I am your personality pro because I'm on a mission to make happiness the norm rather than the exception. And so many people right now are not happy. That statistically right now, they're saying that 70% of people are not happy.
Wow. 70%.
Yeah. And in some countries it's even more. And I hate to say this, but the US is part of that higher number.
Well, we can tell.
And yes, there's a lot going on, lots still going on. We're not talking about that, but life happens. And the thing is, though, like with me, it's being able to pivot, change directions. And for me right now, I've had a bit of a direction change, or not a change so much as an addition, an unexpected addition. I've been in the wellness space for 40 years and have marketed many different products and had great results with the wellness products that I've used over the years, and have always been a product of the product. Didn't expect to market another product. But when I was introduced to the latest one, it was like, I have had amazing results. And then God just put it on my heart that, Barbie, how can you keep this not to yourself? Yeah. So that's been absolutely an amazing. But how things happen though, because I have some new wellness partners. One of them lives in Tulsa. Well, guess where I'm going this week? Is Tulsa.
Yay.
Long before the wellness thing, but it turns out, because we share good things with our friends and family. And I shared what the results that I was having with this, and it was like, oh, okay, fine. And so now they've become wellness partners, and they're just so excited because I got a text, and it's like, oh wow, we're feeling better. We're noticing the difference. So now I'm going on vacation because I'm going to a wedding. The wedding is in Tulsa.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to be able to do a little bit of business there too. So isn't God good? Things happen for a reason. And the thing is, though, God has perfect timing.
Yes. All the time. That's exciting.
So yeah. And I'm actually going to take some days of actual vacation. That's one of the things too, that here in the US, statistically, we're the least country that takes vacations. So technically, and I know you and I have talked about this before, is that so you're technically giving, like most companies, if you don't take your vacation, you lose it.
You lose it, yeah. So
you have now donated your money and your time back to your company.
I'm laughing.
I'm
laughing because just yesterday, I was online, working because I worked a day job. And I was looking at how many days I had left for the rest of the year because I get stuck like that every year, Barbara. I think we talk about that too. And now I'm stuck again where I have I got 3 weeks of vacation that I got to take before the end of the year. Right. Now we're in September. And and they hate that we do that because a lot of things happen. We're trying to get stuff done at the end of the year. Now we got to take vacation day. They said, no, that's kind of, bad. But
that's what happens because and then at the end of the year, so many companies, the end of the year, they're using that time to gear up for the beginning of the next year. not the time for
to take vacation.
employees to be taking vacation. And yet people do it all the time, or they donate it back to the company because the company will not reimburse them.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I hate to put my hand up. I'm vulnerable. I'm open.
Right.
I donated a week last year. So they got a week of my time, my vacation time last
Of
year.
your vacation time.
Yeah. So I
Bob,
better do something now, or else they're
don't
going to
do
get
that.
a week or two.
I'm looking straight at you, Barb. Don't do that.
Well, you said don't do it.
Do it. And but I'm the first to admit that, done it, been there, done that. Because, but the thing is, though, why do we do it?
Well, I know why it happened
Why?
to me.
I want to hear from you. Why do you do
What
it?
happened to me? Because I always felt like, because I'm keep moving and grooving at work, and then we always have something coming in, something else, and something else. And I'm like, well, I can't afford to take this day right now because I got this and this and this going on. I can't afford it. And with this cycle kept going.
Of the time.
And that
Of the
was
time.
September. Yeah, well, now we're
Right.
September, and I'm like,
September.
and I could have just said, you know what? Stop the madness, take the day off. Stop the madness, take 2-3 days off. Now I have to say, I have to give me a little credit because just a few weeks ago I took 4 days off, and I was like, all in a row. Usually I don't do that. I was like, what? I took 4 days in a row off?
Right.
That's like, okay, let me put a little star next to my name because I don't do that all the time. But I got to continue, like you said, Barbara, continue to do that.
Right, because you know what the thing is, it's all about schedule.
Yeah.
And I know that I have looked at you before and said, gee, Barb, who's in charge of your schedule?
Yeah, see, you when you do that in that picture, I feel like you're right here with me. You're here with me, but like you're here.
Who's in charge of your schedule?
Your face is in the same, like, okay, Barbara, what are you doing?
What are you doing? And I have to admit that, we talked about it, a couple of weeks ago, where both you and I were both in Crazy Town, and we got lost in Crazy Town, and we lost our GPS.
Yeah.
And
I think I say in Crazy Town a lot.
I get into Crazy Town.
Yeah.
And that's because of just little things. The thing is, though, and I'm going to tell on myself, is it because I think I'm so indispensable that nobody can do it as well as I can?
Yeah.
That was a bit of it's like, well, Barbara, you know what? It's called delegation. There are other people that can do what you do. That's why I think I resisted so long of having a virtual assistant. And now, what a difference it has made having my virtual assistant. Because she just says, oh yeah, Barb, we've done this, this, and this. And it's like, oh, thank you. And all I have to do is say thank you. But because you can't do everything yourself. And that's part of what we were going to talk about today. But anyways, you have not introduced yourself.
Oh, okay. I thought, we were talking,
we are. Well, this is what happened, Barb.
Well, okay. As Barbara said, I'm the other Barbara, Barbara Beckley. And what I do, my mission in life is to make sure that, especially women, know who they are, understand their purpose, understand what they're doing in this world, understand that don't let things get so to the point where you're like, you forget yourself. It's like you just let yourself go. And then once we kind of tweak that, get into that, then I'm like, okay, it's time for you to shine. As I say, like the diamond. Time for you to shine by getting visibility for you, be it on, doing this type of thing, TV streaming that we do. I do interviews, podcasts, social media, helping them through the social media craze. Because that's a social media, I call it social media universe. And people get lost in that universe. And just like they get lost in themselves, it's like, okay, where do I go next? So I'm just throwing stuff everywhere. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, whatever. Hopefully somebody comes to me. And you have to be strategic in that. So I help them muddle through that. Right. And, and then I come here every Tuesday and be with the Mr. Wonderful other BBs. And, we just share self-development tips. And, I'm loving, I tell people every day, I've been starting every day. Well, I started for a while ago, of always having some kind of tip or skill that I want to learn daily, reading it or listening to it or something, self development. And it's so important to do that because we're forever learning. We're
Mm-hmm.
forever learning. And I feel like if I don't do that, then I'm like, okay, I missed a day where I could have learned something new. So
Right.
I've been pushing myself every day to do that.
To learn something new.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely the truth, because when we are learning, we're growing.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're growing, we're moving ourselves forward, because if we're not moving ourselves forward, we're dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, or maybe not necessarily dying, but stagnating
Stagnating ourselves.
and not becoming our best self.
Yeah. Our best self.
Our best self.
And you don't know until you start learning. Like you said, when you say you don't know what you don't know, you find out what you don't know, and then you become, better than you were before, because now you learn something different, and you're basically trying to put it in your life. So yeah.
And it's something, and the thing is, though, I really, really encourage people not to get into the comparison game.
Oh.
Because what you need to learn can be totally different than what I need to learn.
Yes.
Because we all are unique, we are special, we are in our own right.
Yes.
That this is something that is us. But you're not the same as me. We had different upbringings, we had different schooling, we had different experiences. How could we possibly be the same? And yet, we've all had challenges.
Yeah.
And how we've handled those challenges can be similar.
Similar, yeah.
Because sometimes how one person, oh, that's what I could have done that was a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, if I had handled it the way Barb did, if I had handled it the way you did, well, then maybe I wouldn't have gotten in quite so much deep doo-doo.
Mm-hmm.
And those things happen because that's how we learn.
Yeah.
That's how we learn.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, so that brings us to our subject.
Yes.
Is, like attracting your ideal audience, attracting who you want to work with. And what that is, the thing is that what pain or problem do you solve? What experience, like Barb and I just talked about, what experience have you had that you can share with somebody else?
Mm-hmm.
There's 7 billion people on this planet.
Oh,
Chances are someone else has gone through what you've gone through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And wouldn't it be nice if you helped them get through it? Because you are now through it.
Mm-hmm.
You have the scars. You're not in the wound. And there's where the difference is. When somebody is in the wound, that's not the time to try to teach it to somebody else how to get through it, because you're not through it yet. But once you're through it, like with me now, I have no problem sharing with people what the process that I went through after David died. I did not expect to be a widow at 60. I didn't expect to lose my husband.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun.
No.
And at the time, I was absolutely in the widow's fog. But now I can honestly help people to go, hey, you know what? I've been there.
And that's such a treasure. That's such a treasure.
Let's talk about what is going on. And they know that feeling of that you just want to scream.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, hey, I am more than willing to sit and scream with you. Because I've been there. I have felt that. Or just waking up in the morning going, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I going to do? I've lost my husband. What am I going to do financially? What am I going to do? Am I ever going to be able to smile again? And until you've been through that, and people empathize with you all the time,
Yeah.
but until they know it, they don't know it. They
Mm-hmm.
don't know it. And you've been through similar things yourself. You've lost people.
Yeah, yeah. I think about, like you said, at the time, like you said, if it's still that's a wound for you, it's hard for you to help others because you're still going through it. But I can honestly say, like you said, you can talk about, you being a widow now, and I can talk about basically, me being, losing my dad, at the age of 17 by murder. He was murdered.
Right. Right.
And now, back in the day when it first happened, no, I mean, I was the last thing I was thinking about was trying to help somebody through it because I was trying to figure out, am I still going to be here? I mean, I was to the point, Barbara, and you heard the story a little bit, that I was
Yeah.
thinking about committing suicide and saying, okay, I'm out of here.
Exactly.
And now
Those
I can
thoughts
talk people
cross
through
our
that.
mind.
Yeah. Because I was like, well, why am I here? And then he was the only person, and going, not only talking about that for people, but understanding your value, because I was devalued because I was bullied so much when I was younger that
Right.
I didn't think I was anything. So but when he came, my father would always, encourage me and just give me those hugs and stuff. Then he left. Then I'm like, okay, now what? In my mind. So yeah, and so now I feel so much better that I can walk people through that process.
Right.
And and that's why people are like, Barbara, why you always telling people they're amazing, they're wonderful? Why you always telling people they're so good and everything like that? I said, because they are. They just don't get it yet. They just don't get it yet.
Exactly.
And
They
I had to be their
just don't
trailer. I
get
had
it
to
yet.
help them. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. And that comes back to our original thing. You don't know what you don't know until somebody tells you what you don't know. And sometimes we are so hard on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I know I beat myself up all
Beat
the
it
time.
up. Beat.
And if I treated my friends if I talked to my friends the way I talk to myself sometimes, would you have any friends?
No, I'm about to say I don't have no friends. Nobody.
I wouldn't have any friends.
Everybody would be like, I don't know. She's gonna beat you up.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens with people. So when they're building their business, they're comparing themselves to others. They're listening to advice and thinking, oh, well, I have to do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have to do it that way because so-and-so is doing it that way.
Mm.
But that might not be the way that you're supposed to be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Find exactly what you talked about. Find your purpose.
Yeah.
Find your passion. Then everything else will fall into place, because that pain that you went through is like your calling card.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That you can now call on other people and help them through it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's the first step. What are you passionate about? What pain are you going to solve?
Mm.
The second step is, who are you going to do it for?
And you know what, Barbara, usually I heard in certain coaching, because I know we all do workshop coaching,
Right.
From other people. That's how we learn and grow too.
Right.
But I heard where they said sometimes, the problems that you solve, the pains that you solve was the you back in the day that you're looking for now to help. So what I dealt with back in the day, with the losing of the dad and, dealing with my self-esteem and all the bullying, I'm looking for people like that now to help, because I was going through it and now I know how to, take them through it. And I said, oh, that's a good way of thinking, because I never, because I was having trouble trying to find people that I could help with the problem that I solved. And when they said it like that, I was like, now that makes sense.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to get our message out there, because we can all be saying exactly the same thing, but until that person said it that way, you didn't get it, because you needed to hear it from that person.
Mm-hmm.
We all say things slightly different, and how it resonates with somebody is the important part.
Mm-hmm.
Is the important part. Is it resonating with you? Is what we're saying resonating with you? Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
And like I have been on workshops where it was like, why am I listening to this?
I was like, Barbara, I sit there and be like, I'm still not what? You know, I'm still thinking it's not
why am
him.
I, why am I listening to this? Because it just wasn't resonating. Didn't, and it can be for many different reasons. You either couldn't have, are they hard to understand? Like do they have an accent that's hard to understand for you?
Sometimes, yeah.
And
they might be talking, really about some really good things that you need to learn. But like you said, sometimes it is the thick accent, and you're trying to, respond to that.
And it's so funny because one of the guys that I was interviewing last week, and that's what he said. He said there are a couple of people that I just can't listen to, and he mentioned one of them, and I said, "Oh, I love listening to him." He went, "No, I don't. I cannot listen to him at all."
He's like, "No."
And then he mentioned somebody.
And you were like,
you listen to him? How can you listen to him? I can't listen to him at all.
Everybody has their own preferences of people.
They all have their own. Yeah. They all have their own voice, and that's why it is so important to get your message out there. Yes. So find what your pain is, and just realize that there's somebody else out there that you can help with it.
Yes.
But who are you going to do it with? Like with me, I was 60. Yes, being losing your husband my husband died. But now other women have lost their husband through divorce.
Yeah.
Not the same thing. So you can't just say, about losing your spouse. Well, losing your husband to death is very different than losing your husband to divorce.
It's funny you say that. Well, I'm going to say this too, because like I said, I'm vulnerable. I tell things because to help people, but I'm going through a divorce right now.
You're right.
21 years, that we've been married. And the other day, because I decided to talk to a counselor about it. And before I was like, I'm good. I'm okay. This is not like one of those divorces where I'm like, oh my God, I don't want him to leave. It's just the other way around, because things are just not working. Sometimes you just don't, it's not there anymore. And I was okay. But then, my cousin told me, she said, Barbara, I think you still need to go. I think you still just need to talk it through. And I was like, okay, I don't want to miss anything out. Maybe I need to, purge whatever I need to do. And I came to the point when I did see them for the first time, the counselor, they said that some people look at divorce as even somebody died in your life. Right. And when they said it like that, Barbara, I kind of thought, I was like, you know what? It's kind of, I mean, it's not similar to, like you said, your spouse dying, but I felt like the relationship died.
Exactly. And the future that you envisioned.
Yeah.
I've done both. I've done both.
You're
yeah. I'm an all-purpose.
You got all the coaching that you can help a lot of people. I'm telling you.
Right. I look back. My first husband and I, we were married for 20 years, and then realized that the only thing we had in common were the children.
See, yeah.
And so it was an amicable divorce, and yet it was still a divorce, because I, just like, ooh, you're getting a divorce.
Yeah.
And that now it's much more the norm.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
yeah.
And yet you hear the success stories. I just met a couple that they were celebrating their 63rd wedding anniversary.
Wow.
And they are just the cutest couple. And sometimes when you can look back and say, well, what happened? Social pressure? And I look back on, if I had known now what I did then, would I have gotten divorced from my first husband? Well, who knew? Who knows? Hindsight is always wonderful. But you know what? We can't judge ourselves based on somebody else.
Yeah. And that you, just like you said a little earlier, Barbara, because I had to wrap my head around it, because I'm one of the people just like you. I feel like once married, In my mind, it was like once married, always married.
Right.
I wasn't even thinking about divorce. Divorce wasn't even in the picture
Right.
in my life, in
Me
my
neither.
head,
Until it happened.
until it happened. And then I think I prolonged it because I believe that I would have been divorced earlier in my marriage, but I prolonged it because of what I was thinking like that, saying, okay, if somebody knows that I'm going to get different, like, wait a minute, Barbara, you said never divorce. You believed in this. You know, what are you doing?
Right.
So now I'm starting to think about what others going to think at that time.
Exactly.
And I'm still staying in this marriage still longer than I should have been staying. And now it's 21 years of my life. And I was like, okay, I can't do this for everybody else. In fact, people are not even probably thinking about it, about me right now. They're thinking about whatever. So I need to do what's good for myself.
Exactly.
To move forward. Yeah.
Exactly. Because you have to grow. You have to be the person that you are meant to be.
Yeah.
And like, I look back, I know several women who, when they were walking down the aisle to get married,
they were like,
said
no,
to themselves, I shouldn't be doing this.
It is. Yeah.
And yet they still did it.
Yeah.
Because of the social pressure of, well, how could I leave this person standing? You know, all these people who are here to see me get married.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, and yet we knew. And
We
how
knew.
often have we not listened to our gut instinct that is saying, oh, well, this isn't the direction that I should be going in with my business, or this isn't the direction that I should be going in my life, or this isn't the direction. I need a new direction. And that's what you have to, and that's where I am so proud of you, Barb, because you are listening to that inner, that I have, this is not the direction that I need to be taking. I need to get it's about, we have to take care of ourselves too.
Yeah.
It still comes under the heading of self-care.
See, it goes right back to that. Well, before we dip dab into that and some other things, we got to go to our sponsor.
We have to go to
So give our sponsor, and then we'll be right back with the BBs. The BBs.
I'm hanging on your every word. The love inside, I feel it burn. I've never felt this way before. I've had a taste, now I want more. So here we are, just you and me. I'm overwhelmed when you touch me. You talk so sweet, I hear the sound. 'Cause when you do, my feet won't touch the ground. My feet won't touch the
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing?
We're back. We are back.
We are back.
Yes. So we were talking about, just to kind of tell everybody, if you're just tuning in right now, we are Time to Shine Happiness Show with the BBs.
The
Two Barbara Beckley and Barbara Ellison, and my partner in crime, my favorite host, favorite friend, and all the other stuff I can just name. And we're talking about basically how to, what problems and pains that we can solve, who do we solve them for? And, we kind of got a little bit into uniqueness and, some things that we dealt with ourselves that we now can help and share with the world to help them through it. So,
Right.
Barbara?
Right. And that's exactly that's exactly right, is what makes you unique. And it's our experiences. And one of the things for me is like, and in my wellness space, one of the things that, well, let's talk. When I went through menopause, I gained like 30 some odd pounds.
Please.
And my David, my love of my life. Anyways, one day I was, this is a funny story. One day I was doing a thing on, how to dress for success. We've all done that. Like, I love that commercial, how to dress, just dress for success, dress for your body type. So I was doing this thing on how to dress for my body type. And they all have, like, whether you're a pear or you're a tree, or there's all sorts of, it was
shapes.
What your shapes are. And I looked at him and I said, "Oh, David," I said, "according to this, I'm a spoon." And he looked at me and he said, "Yeah, honey, but you're a teaspoon." and here was me. I was thinking that I was a ladle because I had gained so much weight. And just, when through that time of life, that just happens. And anyway, so I have yo-yo dieted for years. But I can honestly say now that I am losing inches and people are noticing it. And just a friend of mine said, "Gee, Barbie, even through your face and through here, you look slimmer." And I was like, "Oh, yay, it's working," so that kind of thing. So those are the things that now, that when somebody else feels that same way, like you and I have talked about the times where I have felt like just a beached whale. Okay, so if somebody else has felt that, I can help because I've been there. That's what makes it. That is the things that make you unique.
Yes.
So what is unique about you? What is something that you have gone through? What is a feeling that you have felt that you can share with somebody else?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And this, that's why I don't, well, I mean, I know we all go through the hurts and pains of our stories in life, but now I used to be before like, oh, why I'm dealing with this. Oh my God, I got to go through this too. But now it's like, you know what? I tell myself, bring it on, because if it's going to help somebody through what I'm experiencing, if I have to experience it, you have to experience everything.
You're going to experience it anyways.
Yeah. If I experience it though, that's like a plus, because now I can help others get through whatever, what I dealt with and they're dealing with now, to give them hope. Yeah, I always say, Barbara, I'm saying this a lot lately. It's been really in my heart that I've been telling people. I said, you know what? You're the lighthouse for people.
Right.
You're the lighthouse. You're that glimmer light. When they look up, they're like, oh, there's hope here. Because Barbara Ellis went through it, or Barbara Beckley went through this, and they're telling us, they're talking to us that it's okay, because they're still standing. We're still standing. I'm thinking about Elton John. I'm still standing.
I'm still standing. Yeah. And the thing is too, is that when we are the lighthouse, people are going to come from you can see it for miles around.
I like that.
The light goes around, because you never know who's going to see your light where. But if you're only looking, and Jay, my other co-host Jason, one day we were talking, and he said, so often people are going through life. Can you imagine trying to go through life and you're driving a car and you're only allowed to drive with the space of your rear view mirror?
Yeah, I remember him. He mentioned that last.
He said that last week. Now, isn't that absolutely the truth? We go through life sometimes with blinders on. Be open to who's shining their light out there, and you be one of them. Because you know what? Light attracts light. You will attract the people to you that want to see your light.
Yes.
Wow.
You just added to the lighthouse. Wow, Barbara said I got to use this. See, that's why it's so good when you have two people come together and talk about this, because then you even get more understanding of what you're even saying. Because I was thinking about the lighthouse, and then you just made even more clear about people see with a lighthouse. They see, oh, that's so much wisdom.
And you know, the thing is, why do we have lighthouses? What is a lighthouse?
What is
And where are they? They are on the edge of the earth to make you aware of rough waters. That's what a lighthouse does.
That was good. That's good.
Okay. So now, what rough waters are you going through right now? What rough waters are you going to go through? What rough waters have you been through?
Yeah.
It's just, it's all timing.
It's all tied together.
It's all timing. It's all going to happen, or has happened, or will happen. So when you can surround yourselves that are light givers and light keepers, and of just shining that light, that when you are in a dark spot, oh, gee, oh, I remember, Barb Beckley talked about that. I have no concept of my father being murdered, but there are young people out right now that's happened to.
Yeah.
And that becomes the mission of our heart.
Yeah. Yes.
That becomes the mission of our heart.
Yeah.
And you know, that's one of the things for me, is that's one of the missions of my heart, is to help people through those dark times of losing a loved one, or in my case, feeling like a beached whale with no hope in sight, and just being open and saying, hey, you know what, this is happening.
Yeah.
And oh well, okay, I'm going to give you an example right now. It is bugging me so much that my virtual background is out of whack.
And you know what? I wasn't even saying nothing or say whatever until you just said it.
But that's exactly what happens. We notice it so much that it bugs us so much. And so often people probably wouldn't even notice it. And how often do we do that? We get so fixated on something that's going on in our life that we lose track of that same thing could be happening in somebody else's life, and we can help them through it. So with me, I can laugh about the fact that my virtual background is out of whack right now, because you know what, can't do anything about it. So, oh well.
Well, this is what we always say. It's like, okay, if it's right now to this point, and I know you eventually you're gonna fix it or whatever you got to do, but right now it's out of your control. And what's more important? See, I always tell people, I said, what's more important? My virtual background, you seeing it the right way, or what I'm saying to you to help you get through your life in certain aspects. So to me, that's more important, what you're talking about, Barbara, than that virtual background right now. Because like I said, I wasn't even paying attention to that, because I was paying attention to what you were saying.
Exactly.
That's rich. That's what's rich.
That is exactly. Yeah. And that is, so when we went back to what pain are you suffering, what pain are you solving? That's what you need to get in touch with, because that's the important piece. Not about whether your website is perfect, or that your whatever it is that you're working on, and just get your message out there, because it's the message that is the important piece. What pain are you suffering? What pain have you suffered that you can help somebody else who is suffering with it right now? And it amazes me sometimes. But what will people think?
Yeah. What will people say? Yeah.
What will people say? Well, you know what? People are going to say thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah. But it's funny you talked about the website. Let me tell you certain things. I know I got my stories. But real quickly, the story about the website for me was, it was holding me back. You know why, Barbara? Because like you just stated, I was trying to make it perfect. I was trying to make sure everything, the clicks and all that stuff. And I was looking at other people's websites, saying, "Oh, that looks nice. I want mine to look something not like theirs, but to look at how it pops.
Right.
And I was like, okay,
Exactly.
but it's looking kind of dull. Look at this. Okay, I need to get somebody to do this. Then I find somebody, then they would not do it right. Then I had to get rid of them. And then I had another person helping a friend, and they didn't do it right. And months and months and months and months was passing me by. And I kept stopping everything I was doing as far as putting my products and stuff out there for people just to get to know me.
Right.
And I was like, wait a minute. One day I just said, wait, this is stopping. I'm so focused on perfection and trying to get this right and trying to make it all pretty that I'm stopping everything else that I'm trying to do. So I just said, you know what? It is what it is. I learned, and one thing about it, what I did is because I couldn't really find anybody to do it the right way, I learned how to do WordPress. I said, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to teach myself how to do this.
Right.
And get this thing done. And if it's not perfect, it's not going to be perfect, but it's done. People can see what I do. They can buy stuff off my website, stuff like that. And I had to do that, Barb, because I said, I gotta move forward. This is stagnating right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, what things, we can put out there to question everybody else out there. What might be that you're doing that's stagnating you from moving to the next level because you're just so like, I have to make this perfect and all this kind of stuff. Yeah.
Are you letting perfection stop you? And perfection is in the eye of the beholder. I'll tell you, this is a real estate story. A friend of mine was selling their house, so they did all sorts of this fun things that they did. They remodeled and just were moving, so they just remodeled and did a few things. And the owners came in and said, "Oh yeah, well, isn't this going to be nice when I can rip out this whole kitchen?" She about croaked. What do you mean you're ripping out the kitchen? She said, "Well, no, this isn't me." So she had done all this work making her house what she thought was just perfect for the new owner, and they ripped it out.
Yeah, that kind of it almost ripped out her heart. Like, oh no.
It ripped out her heart. It's the same thing. If you are waiting for everything to be perfect, somebody else coming along is not going to say, "Well, that's not perfect. No, that's not me. I don't want that." Just put your message out there. Imperfection at all. Because you know what? I come back to the fact that what is the most favorite TV shows pretty much of all time? Bloopers, America's Funniest Home Videos. We love watching when they put the shows on of the newscasters that are bloopers. We love those because they show the human side of us. That we can laugh at things that other people are doing. And maybe we see ourselves in it a little bit. I can see, I've done that. That kind of stuff. And we can laugh and smile.
And we can embrace it. Like you said, we can embrace it instead of getting like all, caught up in, oh my God, I just made this mistake. And, we shut it down. Well, we're live. No, we're not live. You know how people get all frazzled. And I used to be that way. That's why every time I say something, I say, I used to do that. That's why I understand what you might be dealing with, because I used to get all frazzled. I mean, there be sometimes, Barbara, I wouldn't even want to do live because I think everything wasn't the right way or something happened. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Then now just come on and be like, if something happens, okay, it happens. And
it happens.
Forward.
Yeah.
Move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And that's so true. And so often people they let them stop it. And sometimes, the funny thing is, sometimes I feel like we're harping and harping and harping, and yet you wouldn't believe how many people out there, like, I'll listen to something and they're saying exactly the same thing. Gee, didn't I just say that on my show? Because it is so important. It is so important. And right now I truly believe that there is finally a great awakening going on, that people are waking up to the fact that we have to put ourselves out there, help everywhere, because now the earth really with Zoom, we can have an international call and do it on Zoom.
Yes.
You can impact somebody that lives in Africa.
Mm.
You can impact somebody that lives in China. You can
Yes.
impact somebody that lives in Australia.
Yes.
Isn't that an amazing opportunity? There is
Amazing.
more opportunity for change,
Yes.
but we have to be willing to put ourselves out there and help be the change.
Why it seems like I'm hearing songs every time you say something. When you said make that change, I'm thinking about Michael Jackson when he said make that change.
Be the change. Be the change. Yeah, isn't there a song out there called "Be the Change"?
You know, people, you talking about the man in the mirror.
Or the man in the mirror.
And he always sings that song, and he said, "Make that change" in the song. So yeah, we have to be the ones to make that change. We have to be the ones to be vulnerable too, like we were saying earlier.
Right.
Both myself and Barbara next to me, this way, have open up our lives to people today and all the time, because we have to make sure that people know that it's going to be okay.
Yes.
You're not out there by yourself. You're not a loner. See, a lot of people think that, well, I'm the only one going through. And some people say, no, live a little bit longer. I mean, believe me, some of the things, a lot of things that people go through, Barbara, it don't surprise me anymore. Now, when I was young, maybe younger, like in my teens or something, because I was a teenager, I hear some things and be like, ooh. Then I got older, I'm like, I understand. Yeah, I totally understand what you're dealing with and went through. Yeah.
And it's so funny that you say that, because sometimes you're looking in at somebody else's life and only seeing the outward. And this morning I was on another call, and it was an international call. And one of the gals, we were talking just a little bit. I think that's what sparked this too, a little bit, is that, like, people would look at her and say, well, you don't know what it's like because you've got this, this, and this. And she's like, yeah, I was $1 million in debt. She had borrowed $1 million to do that. And it was like, I went, oh, brother.
Yeah, so you never know. You
never know. Yeah. That's why it's so important to get your message out there, because now, so now that she has told people about that, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, I can relate to her a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because I've been there. Yeah. I've had to declare bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
And I can look back on that and go, oh, and I was so ashamed. Yeah. So ashamed. Yeah. How could this have happened? Mm-hmm. But you know what? Unfortunately, the company got shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost everything. But you know what? I'm still here. And I've survived, and I'm recovering. I'm still recovering. It's a process.
It's a process, and you had to make sometimes you have to make decisions in life where, like you said, it's like that's the way out at that time that I had to make that decision. And then you deal with that, and then you tell people, you know what, I can talk to you because I had to make that same decision.
Right. Because
but I survived.
I'm
still here. Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's what we talked about last week. You can only do what you can do where you are.
You are, yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Barbara, this hour went quick. You know that it's time up. Can you believe that? See, and we didn't even see, we do this so well that, sometimes, because we do bring on some awesome, tremendous guests that Barbara always invites. She's just such good, and she's so good at that. I have to give you always kudos for that. But today, you know what? We just wanted to kind of have that conversation with each other. We come on sometime with just us, the BBs, and
so that you can get to know us and our heart and who we are and what we bring to the world. We hope. We hope. Yeah. The thing is though, you can't help everybody. No. And some people are going to resonate, some people aren't, and that's okay.
I'm glad you said that, Barbara. That was very important to end at that point. Yeah.
I go back to the conversation I had, and I looked at my friend and said, what you listen? How can you listen to him? I love listening to him. And then he said to me, well, I said, I can't listen to him.
It's like,
just absolutely a case in point.
See, that's Yeah, some people might like rock, some people might like jazz, some people like opera. But you know what? There's nothing's wrong with anybody liking those different genres. It's just that's what they like to
That's
do.
what they like.
Yeah, that's
And
what
they
they like.
will, yeah. And so just put your message. So it comes back to put your message out there.
Put it out there. Put it out there.
Just put it out there. Because you know what? Your tribe will find you.
Your tribe will find you.
And be authentic in it. Don't try to be somebody else.
Oh, please, no. No,
Do not
I know
try to
we
be
did, so we
somebody
touched a little bit on that, but yeah, please have your uniqueness
Yeah, we could have a whole show
on that. Yeah, you're right.
Don't try to be somebody else. Just be authentic.
Okay, Barb, before we sign off, there's anything that people need to know what's coming up with you?
I'm going on vacation. I'm so excited. I'm going on vacation. So excited. Yeah, just I'm working on a couple of presentations that I'm going to do a couple of webinars about of if you're a network marketer and how to work. You know, in any business, you have to work with people. You have to work with people. So be the best you physically, energetically. So I'm working with people with that, and I'm really excited about that. Of just so many people right now are tired.
Yeah.
They're tired. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Part of that is nutrients. So let's talk. But then the other part of it is handling personality. We all see things differently.
Yeah.
And so let's work on that. So it's fun. So those are my two things that I'm working on, and I'm excited about them. And and find something that you're excited about.
Yes.
And then be excited about it. And don't let anybody else steal your excitement. Because there will always be naysayers.
There's always be naysayers, and you know what the mission is, Barbara's mission and my mission too. I mean, I kind of collaborate with her mission because it goes all hand in hand. Is we're trying to make happiness the norm.
Right.
We're trying to make happiness the norm. But real quickly on my end, just to let any lady, especially the biz, I call them the biz queens, ladies, if you're interested in understanding this world of social media and how to get through it in your business, I am starting this Saturday another 6-week social media secrets for the biz queens workshop. So it will start this Saturday, and let me know if you're interested, and let's hook up. I have a few people already that's been signing up, and I'm very excited because that's one thing I love to talk about is to help women get through that. So if you're interested, just DM me, call me, smoke signals, whatever you got to do.
Right, exactly.
We'll get you. Reach out and touch. See, I'm telling you, these songs are my head.
Exactly.
Okay, Miss Bibi, you enjoy your vacation, lady. You totally deserve it. And now you won't be. Well, next week I'll be.
I think Jason's gonna just be the co-host.
Yeah, I have a guest co-host coming on with me. You seen him last week. He is this Mr. Awesome. And I will be on next Tuesday while Barbara's enjoying herself.
I am on vacation. I might join, but I'm not going to because I'm not sure. I don't want to run into that. Oh, you never know what internet is like. I'm not sure where I'm going to be.
Okay. Well, you know what? You'll get the link, and then if you pop,
I'll get the link, and if it's stable, hey, I might come on, and we'll all of us be on a show.
Yeah.
All of us will be on.
Yeah. But right now, we have I have a special co-host coming on, guest co-host.
I'm gonna have to check on that because that's or did we? We're gonna have to have a talk.
We're gonna have a talk. We have to have a side talk.
We're gonna have to have a side talk.
So with that, like we always say, time to shine. Make sure that you make the happiness your norm today and not abnormal. And just a smile is much better than a frown. So let's make each other happy and just love each other and do what we need to do to have this world heal. And that's what I always say. Yep. With that, Barbara, always a pleasure hosting this show with you. And we will see each other.
So glad we've done it.
You take care.
All right. Have a good one.